and in this video I'm recreating a junction from the Bronx, just north of New York. Here's a little Google Maps view of the junction just to show you what it generally looks like. I mean, it's not 100% recreation of the intersection at all. It's just basically building a similar looking junction in City Skylines using a new technique that Noguchi was showing on the Discord about how to build a custom sort of bridge, because I was having this problem where I didn't like the fact that it was elevated, because there's a train line running under the road here, and when you obviously elevate a road it creates a bridge, and the bridge has guardrails, and I didn't want that, because in real life there are no guardrails. There's just a simple wooden fence, and you basically would never be able to tell that it was a bridge from the ground level, because it's all covered over, and that's just how a lot of junctions tend to be. They just tend to be covered and not work. So he was showing his idea on the Discord about making a custom guardrail system by, instead of making a bridge, you have it to the ground, and then for the rails you sink them down underneath, and then use anarchy to put them under the road, so the road is still exactly level and the train line just goes underneath. This can obviously be done with a road as well. So then you just cover up the glitches and the dark spots that's created when you do that with proper asphalt, and you've got a perfect bridge there, and you can just put your own walls on it and your own protective barriers, and it's really good. It was really great. It was a good idea, because I was moaning about it on a live stream while I was building this originally, because I was trying to make it as realistic looking as possible to real life, and it was just didn't look as good. It looked a bit bad, because I also wanted to use the new procedural objects mod to create medians, raised median areas, and when you got fences in the way you can't make them how you want to make them. They just sort of get in the way and create a bit of a mess. So obviously we'll get into that a bit later in the video when it happens, and I will show you what I did with the procedural objects. But like I said, I did most of this on a live stream, so the quality is a bit less, and my graphics card broke. I had a 780 Ti, I believe, and it just gave up the ghost. So I'm now using 580 Ti. It's okay, but the quality's less. I can't use dynamic resolution to up my resolution to more than 150%. I usually ran it on 250%. So the quality of the cinematics is not as high as I would like it. I hope to be getting a new PC soon. I don't want to put a date on it because who knows, but it will be hopefully soon. Not months, maybe a week or two. We'll see. So obviously here I've drawn the decals on the road to get the general way that this intersection is going to work, and I've used traffic precedent to place the traffic lights, and I haven't done any timing on them yet. I do a bit of that in a bit, but I'm not very good at traffic light timing. It's not one of my skills. I don't for some reason my brain just can't work it out, how to make it work. But it looks alright in the cinematics. I probably could get it to work if this was in a city that I was building and I had to get it to work. But since I only had to get it to work for the cinematics, it worked okay. And it looks actually very nice. I do like the style of the Bronx and stuff like that, and just the compact nature of the of the place and the way where trains weave in and out of buildings, and it's like semi-grid nature, but then also has these weird intersections like this one I'm recreating right now. I was thinking as I built this, I probably should have used more faded lines, but for some reason I just really like using these ones that stand out. They just, I suppose the word would be like, they pop, and they just look so nice, but I really got to get the use of using the faded ones, because they just look and fit so much better than other ones. I mean, there are some faded yellow lines on the workshop. I don't even think I'm subscribed to them. I should be, but I'm not. I will have to remember to do that after I record this. But after everything was complete, the yellow lines didn't stand out too much because I used a lot more decals on top of them. And even though I used a fair amount of decals, there wasn't too much overlap on them, which was nice. And now we're getting to the bit where I am sinking the rail down to the correct height so that trains can get underneath the track. And as you see there, I'm simply forcing the track to ground and then lowering the height. I lowered it to like 8 meters or 9 meters or something, so that it is forced under the road, and the road still remains like forced to ground. But there are these weird glitches that appear up and down the road, which obviously you have to use proper asphalt to cover. I think in a second we're going to see me upgrading them to normal roads after I work out why these rails aren't placing straight. And here I am upgrading all the roads to bridges, and as you can see they've got these annoying like guardrails on them, which is a shame it's not an option to turn off. Like, you can edit traffic lights and stuff like that, but I think it's just not big on anyone's priority list at the moment. So I go through, I move every decal that I've already placed back, and then I end up moving them back again later. But I spare you the the visual of me doing that. Here's a small show of where the roads are going using Traffic President, and this is where I try and work out how to use the traffic lights. And like I said, I did this on the live stream. People were very helpful in the live stream. People in the comments were trying to tell me, and also Freedom was giving his best effort to try and tell me, but he didn't really know what he was doing either. So it was sort of like the blind leading the blind. I don't know. They worked-ish, but I don't know, I just can't get my head around how it works. So as you can see here, I'm sort of adding numbers and min time and max time, trying to work out which ones are green, which ones are not green. You also don't have maximum freedom because you can't make cars turn right unless there's a dedicated turn right lane, or I don't know, it's just a bit annoying and not really for me. I could probably get my head around it eventually, but for right now I'm just not gonna bother with it. So here's the nice upgraded road where I've put it back to flat again after Noguchi posted his stuff on the Discord showing his screenshots of his idea. And I had never thought about covering the dark spots up with proper asphalt, but it works amazing. For some reason I just thought it would never work, but it works, and it works great. So here we are using the new Procedural Objects mod. Now I was trying to get hang of the controls here. I was trying for the life of me to work out how to spin the object around, and the way you do that is you press Control and it changes the orientation. It's very small words under the green icon that say you should be able to which rotate, scale and position. I should really mention it to Simon that they're very hard to read. I didn't even know they existed until I asked, how do I rotate? Because I could see that you could do it in the controls menu, but for the life of me, for some reason I couldn't read it and make my brain understand that. You just had to press control and then look at the words that were very faint in the bottom. So I am scaling this procedural object, making it a bit bigger, trying to get less stretch on the texture, because you've got to use your own textures. I get most of mine from texture.com. I think you can only download 10 a day or something for free. I got some nice concrete textures. This one is probably the nicest one I've got. It's a very worn texture, very gritty. Even though it has a lot of variety, it seems to work. I'm not really sure why it seems to work, but it does. It looks quite nice. I mean, it would be better if the texture was smaller, but since I've stretched it to bigger, it's okay. And you can make these amazing like medians in the middle of roads and everything. It just looks really great. Now we get onto the detailing of the intersection, trying to make it look as worn and as old as possible. And what I did in this part is I changed the colour of the roads so that the ploppable asphalt was darker than the normal asphalt. So let me know if you liked it this way. I've been thinking this could be a way to make different colour roads a lot easier. Like if you use ploppable asphalt to just make a newer road, slightly different colour to an older road. But at the moment, since you've only got the one ploppable asphalt, it's not really possible. I believe Bronx is working on like an additional ploppable asphalt, but I don't know. That's just what it seems to be. He's posted some things on Twitter and a couple of things on the Discord about what he did in his streams and stuff like that. So here's hoping, because that could improve a lot. So I'm going through adding a ton of cracks, a ton of detail to this area, trying to make it look worn, make it look used, because in real life it is very worn and very used and very damaged. I've added a lot of wear marks, a lot of tyre marks, and I know the tyre marks are meant to be skid marks, but I imagine them as road wear marks, so like when cars drive over a road in the same way all the time, they leave their rubber on the road. It's just how tyres work. The rubber gets worn off and is laid onto the road, so you get these dark spots where cars have been driving up and down the same area. And I try and get that to look a bit like more random by when you place them, you move them around ever so slightly, just trying to minimize the sameness effect, because if you just put them in one place it would look like a skid mark. But if you just move them around a little bit, make them a bit more faint, it works a lot better. Now I didn't know what to put in this like big median, so I end up putting a couple signs, which only one of them stays, and a food van and a couple benches next to a what I imagine would be like a transformer, something like that. In game, I think it's a British style transformer, but it looks so nice. The building is very nice, and it sort of fits in this area as like a brick building, so I added it. So as I was looking at Google Maps using the 3D view, I saw the wall and it looked a bit like fuzzy and blurry, so I went down to Street View and it's covered in graffiti. So what I did here was place a load of graffiti on this wall I just placed in the middle of nowhere so I could line them up all straight, and then I go and stick them on the wall where they are in real life. I randomise it up a bit and just stick a couple bits of graffiti, and it adds quite a bit to this area. It would be nice if there was a couple more bits of graffiti, but there are a decent amount. You probably could get away with just using these on maybe a whole city level, as long as you don't use the same like combination everywhere. Like random it up a little bit. So we're getting onto the final bits of the video, and I'm adding trees to this sort of retaining wall. Now in real life the retaining wall is very small, but just the way City Skylines is, the scale and everything, I was ended up with these gaps that I just end up putting trees in, because there already is quite a lot of tree coverage in the Bronx area in certain areas, so I just end up sticking them around there. So that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.